Today, we're going to be looking at some topwater myths that you have been told for decades. A lot of anglers live by these rules, and today we're going to talk about just how wrong they are and how believing these myths is holding you back. We're not only going to dispel them, we're going to break them up into tiny pieces, throw them on the ground, and stomp on them. Stick around, you don't want to miss this one.
There we go. Oh yeah, that's a giant. That's a giant, kids. That is a giant. You get your butt over here.
Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing, and today we're looking at 5 topwater fishing myths that you've been told your entire life. A lot of guys use these more than rules. These are guideposts that they follow with a religious fervor. And if they don't all line up like the stars in heaven, you can't fish topwater. That's just how it is. And I know I have a lot of older guys who watch my videos. I can see and look at the analytics what my demographics are. And a lot of times they don't want to learn anything. They just want to chime in and make sure that I'm doing it how they would do it. And if I'm not doing it exactly that way, then I'm doing it wrong. And they need to make sure that they put me on the straight and narrow. And I don't care anything about that. See, I have a large demographic of people between 18 and 24-year-old. I also have a large number of female viewers, which I am grateful for. And I'm trying to break these molds. I want every angler to forge their own path. Remember, if you're having fun and you're catching fish, you're doing it right. Stop. End of story. It's not about the process. It's not about following any playbook or any rule book. If you're catching fish and you're having fun, you're doing bass fishing right. So we're going to talk about how these myths are just that. They're silly myths that are preventing you from opening up topwater bass fishing and getting that full potential. Not only is it a great way to catch fish, it can also be the most appropriate and effective way to catch fish. So that's what we're going to look at. But before we get started, if you like what I do here, click that subscribe button. Join this community. We'd love to have you. And while you're down there, give this video a like. I would really appreciate it. And head on over to patreon.com and check out my page over there. Membership costs very little, and it opens you up to more content that I don't post here, as well as polls and as well as video suggestions and a whole bunch of other things that you can get by becoming a Patreon member. If you're looking to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. So, what's myth number 1? Well, the most obvious. You have to fish evening or morning. Before there's a lot of sunshine on the lake, before there's a lot of heat going down on the water, darkness at night, early in the morning, early in the evening, that's when you fish topwater. Otherwise, it's not even worth it. Don't even try. It's not going to work. I fish topwater in the middle of the day. When I go out to the lake, anybody who watches this channel regularly knows I generally don't hit the lake until about 10 a.m. I just don't have the time. I don't have the ability to get out there earlier. I have other things that I'm committed to that I have to address first. And you know what? I catch so many fish during the middle of the day, and I catch so many fish on topwater. If the fish are willing to bite, they don't care about your rules. They do not care about your rules. So they don't know they're only supposed to bite topwater during the early morning or in the evening. So that's myth number 1. You can catch topwater at any time. Myth number 2, if you do go fishing topwater during the middle of the day, it's got to be cloudy, right? You have to have overcast skies, because that goes back into myth number 1. You can't have any daylight. So if you're fishing topwater in the middle of the day, you've got to have overcast skies. It's got to be cloudy. It's got to be very dark, and there can't be a lot of things going on the water. Well, that's just not true. Again, I fish topwater in the middle of the day with the sun beating down, hottest part of the day. Last time I was out at the lake, it was 104 degrees with the heat index at 113 with 96% humidity. It was unbearable. It was like being in the hottest, most muggy sauna you could ever think of. And I caught fish on topwater all day long. So again, you don't have to go in the morning or the evening. You don't have to wait for cloud cover. Those are myths. So what's the third myth? Well, the third myth is you have to have slick, calm water. It's got to be like a plate of glass. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And I'm telling you what, that is just not true. So that's probably one of the biggest things. You think you can get around maybe having a little sunlight, maybe having some heat, maybe being in the middle of the day, but that water's got to be slick calm, right? It's got to be like a sheet of glass. That's just not true. As with any other type of fishing, you have to pick the right tool for the job. If I'm fishing calmer water, maybe a little bit more cloudy, maybe what you would consider typical topwater conditions, then I'm fishing something like a frog because I know I don't need a whole lot of action on the water. I don't need to make a whole lot of commotion on the water. I can work this across the top nice and easy, no rattles, no chugging, no blade spinning, and I know I can get a lot of bites. Alternately, I can go with a popping frog. Maybe there's a light ripple, maybe there's a slight breeze, maybe there's a little bit of sun poking through, or maybe I feel like I need to get those fish's just attention just a little bit more. So I'm using something like a popping frog, a little bit more spit, a little bit more chug. Maybe I walk it, maybe I leave it sit, but I can still fish topwater under those conditions. If I have some wave action and it's sunny out, well, then that means I just need to adapt the type of topwater that I'm using. And I generally go with something that makes much more noise. Something like this boy howdy. How many times have you seen this on the channel? How many times have you seen me catch fish with this in the middle of the day? There's some wind, there's some wave action, there's some current, and I'm using this because as I'm twitching it along, it spits, it pops, it makes more noise than something like a frog. Again, in that similar vein, you have something like this guy right here. Good old devil's horse. These old school lures still work, and I use quite a few of them. Boy howdy's been around for a long time. This devil horse has been around for a long time. This is basically the same thing. If I need to make a little bit more noise, if I need to make a little bit more disturbance, twitch, twitch, good spit, and then leave it, obviously that's going to work very well. I have a little bit more wave action or in that area, and those bass are looking for something smaller. That's when I'm using something like this little torpedo. This has been the star of the videos lately. I've used this so well, and it's been 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Crowded waters around me, a lot of wave action, sun beating down. This has been getting bites. And that leads me to the fourth thing, and that is you only fish topwater and shallow, right? No, you can fish topwater in as deep as water as there are fish in. I've been catching a lot of bass with this guy in 25 and 30 feet of water. Just this guy sitting right here on the top. Simply because of the activity of those bass, how those bass have been active. I've been using that little topwater, and it's a little bunch of nothing, right? It's a small little bit, and it gets crushed in 25 feet of water. Another bait that I've been using is a spook or a walking bait. This is a Yozuri. This is a Yozuri pencil walking bait, the 3DB. I like this thing pretty much much as I like a spook. It's a little bit smaller, but it does cast well and it does work through the water well. It's a great change of pace when everybody's using a one knocker spook. This has still got a one knocker in it, but it's a little bit higher pitch. And I'm telling you what, those hooks are laser sharp. Those things will get you. This is actually the lure that I've doubled up on several times, where I've actually caught two fish at once. I've done that on this lure, and that was great. That was a lot of fun.
All right, one more pass, and then I gotta go. But they are stacked right up on this point right here. Oops, you missed it. There, I got him. He came back for it. when they miss it, I just leave it sit. Ooh, that feels pretty good. That's a toad. That's a good toad right there. He's spinning my boat in a circle. That's a good toad right there, kids. Let's see what I got. Let's see what I got here. Oh yeah, he's good. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. That is amazing right there. I doubled up. That's amazing. Oops. That's when you know the fishing is good. That right there is when you know the fishing is good. When you catch two on one cast. So, hang on, I'll come back to you, kid. 2-pound bass. Right at a 2-pound bass. Alright, thank you, buddy. And then we're going to come here. He's the smaller one, but I got him better. Little 1¼ pound bass. Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Alright, way to get that twofer. Oops.
And I've done that in the wind, in the middle of the day, with the sun beating down on me. So, what's the fifth one? What is the fifth myth that a lot of people just believe? And that is, you've got to have hot water. You've got to fish topwater when it's warm outside. I've caught topwater fish, and I've got it on video with this little guy right here, this little chug bug. I've caught topwater in January. Now, I get it, my January here in Mississippi is not your January in North Dakota. But the water temperature at that time was still in the upper 30s, and I was able to catch nice fish on that little chug bug in the dead of winter. If those bass are busting and those bass are moving, it doesn't matter how cold the water is, and it doesn't matter what time of year it is. So I'm telling you what, take all those rules about topwater fishing and throw it out the window. Instead, look at it in the context of what you're seeing. If you're seeing activity on the lake, you're seeing those bass are more active, or you want to search and cover water, well, a lot of times you don't need a crankbait. You can use a spook. And it doesn't have to be shallow. It can be deeper water. Try to play around with it. Don't be afraid to break the rules. Don't be afraid to take the rule book and just throw it out the window. Use what works for you. Use it the way you want to use it. And you never know. You might catch a whole bunch of fish. So there you have it. Totally ripping up the topwater rule book and throwing it out the window. Fish them anytime. I'm telling you, a lot of times, topwater is not just that special bite that we all hope for. It's actually the best way to catch fish, especially during the summertime. Try it out. I'm sure you're going to like the results. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.